Uh, just wanted to talk about Majora's Mask and why everyone should give it another try, even if they're pretty sure that they hate it or don't like it. Um, I was a huge fan of Ocarina of Time growing up. It's still my number one favorite game of all time. I'm pretty sure I've played through it at this point maybe over 100 times. Uh, no exaggeration there. And I didn't even know Majora's Mask was a thing back after it had come out because I hadn't seen any commercials for it or anything, and obviously there was no social media and things weren't the way that they are now. And I was talking to one of my mom's friends about how much I loved Ocarina of Time, and he was telling me how there was a sequel and how it was scarier, which I was immediately super excited for, obviously, because I didn't know there was a sequel. But then he started telling me about this time mechanic, and I didn't know how to feel about that. So he let me borrow it, and I remember immediately loving the music, but I hated the time mechanic. I felt rushed. I didn't know where to go. It seemed harder than Ocarina of Time by far for me at that point. And over the years, I've gone back and tried to replay it and still hated the time mechanic. But just recently, I got the 3D remake, decided to give it another go, and as I've gotten older, I think I've gotten more patient, and my game tastes have kind of evolved a little bit. And I've just decided to go in a few weeks ago and really give the game a fair go. And just kind of take my time with it and slowly just enjoy the world of Termina. And while I still have some problems with Majora's Mask, the main one being that my favorite thing about Zelda games is, maybe not my favorite thing, but definitely one of my favorite things is lots of temples and lots of cool boss fights, which of course Majora's Mask is severely lacking with only 4 temples and 4 bosses plus the final one. The world itself is so awesome. There are so many minor characters, all with unique personalities, and all the side quests that you go through. I mean, there's an extreme amount of side quests, and when I say side quests, I don't mean like your typical boring side quests in other games. They're really interesting, and it really dives into a lot of psychology and things, and it kind of answers the question, what would you do if the world was about to end? And you get to see what all these different people living in Termina would do, and it's really fascinating, and there are emotional highs and lows all throughout the game. Some of these people you just feel so bad for, and some of them you'll cheer for. And it is definitely a depressing game at times. The fact that every time you reset that timer to go back to the first day, everything you did gets undone. Like in Ocarina of Time, you get to see, and this is the thing I really like in games, you get to see like turning Lake Hylia back from ice and seeing it restored, and turning back the tide of evil and seeing the changes take place in these areas as you restore them to their former glory, which happens in Majora's Mask, but every time you reset that timer, it goes back to being shitty again. And it is kind of depressing, along with the fact, of course, that the world's about to end, and the music itself is very somber and heavy is a word I would use to describe it as well. And I know that can be too much for some people, but you got to really look at the timer in the game. This is one of the things that helped me get through it. You got to not look at the timer as an enemy and look at it as a tool, because you can slow down time. And once you slow down time, if you really think about it, it takes about 2 hours for the whole 3 game cycle to take place. So if you're spending 20 hours in this game, you really only have to reset time 10 times. And I mean, you're putting your rupees away in the bank, so you never really lose your rupees when you reset time. You lose bombs and arrows and things, but you can just get back in 10 seconds by cutting the grass outside Clock Town. There are certain small quests you'll have to redo a few times, true, because everything gets undone, but it really isn't that big of a deal. There's one thing in the game, and I won't ruin it for people that haven't played it. One little completely non-essential, blink and you'll miss it storyline, if you can even call that, with how minimalist it is, about the Deku Butler. I won't say anything else because I don't want to ruin it for people, but if you pay close attention at the beginning of the game, the middle, and the end, it's just this incredible story that's told in these quick little moments that you have to pay extra attention to. And if you did pay attention through your playthrough, it's so sad and so just epic. And there are a lot of things like that in this game, with the ranch, and it's just an awesome game filled with tons of atmosphere. And if you are into atmosphere or emotional games, or are willing to play a Zelda game that's different from other games in the Zelda series, you really should check out Majora's Mask. It's awesome.